What's up, dudes? This video is going to be fairly different to the ones you've seen on this channel before. Welcome to the What I've Learned series, part 1 of revamping and evolving the Axelbeast channel. Today I'm here to talk to you guys about my experiences with modding video game consoles. Disclaimer time! This is not a tutorial. I will provide links to all the guides that I've tried, as well as things that did and didn't work for me, tips that made things easier, and some insight into any problems that I encountered along the way. If you're interested in me instead of some first professional out on the internet giving you a tutorial, don't hesitate to go down to the comments below and let me know. I will absolutely love to help you guys. Modding a device, and even an old one, can be a very daunting task the first time around. Whether it's because you're afraid of being banned or accidentally bricking your device, just realize no one repairs these and new consoles would cost more than $300. Today I'm here to let you guys know that it is 100% worth giving it a shot, even if you are a total noob like I was the very first time I tried this. So far I have modded a grand total of 4 consoles, technically a VR headset, and I've sideloaded onto an iPhone. The last 2 I will not be covering in this video. If I could, I would absolutely buy more consoles for the sole purpose of modding. Modding a console can provide amazing features that standard manufacturer level devices can't, whether it's access to discontinued apps, games you may no longer have around to play, or working with new software and hardware to explore its potential hidden capabilities, because some of us are geeks like that. I will walk through each console experience in order from easiest to kind of hardest. Not that any were particularly difficult for me, more so that sometimes finding a tutorial that works for you isn't always on the first click. The 4 consoles we'll walk through today are the Nintendo 3DS XL, as well as a pre-modded new Nintendo 2DS XL, a PlayStation 2, and a Wii. If I could mod my Xbox One or Nintendo Switch, I 100% would have that experience with you guys right here, right now, but I think that won't be happening for a while. There are plenty of options out there if it's something that you are looking to do, especially with things like the new MIG switch. However, I use both of the consoles online regularly, and even though there are still workarounds for not getting caught with a modded console, I'd rather play it safe than sorry. For some, modding can be an expensive hobby due to the prices of a lot of older consoles, especially since 2020. My best suggestion? Frequent your local thrift and pawn shops, even Marketplace, even though it's not always ideal, can sometimes have a solid steal. I found my PS2 on Marketplace pretty cheap, and a mint condition remote at a thrift store for $5. Most of my consoles I've actually had since I was a kid, so also consider harassing your parents to see if they have anything buried in a box in their basement. Going in order, I'll start with my 3DS XL. Now this is the old model, not to be confused with the new one. In case you're unsure of which model you have, it is definitely worth taking a second to go and Google. The old 3DS XL was released back in August of 2012. I've had mine since 2016, and to tell you I'm impressed with the condition it's still in would be an understatement. I put off modding this device for an entire year. As intriguing as it was as both a learning opportunity as well as gaining the ability to play many games I no longer had, I was admittedly scared. I'd had this device for so long, taking such good care of it, I didn't want to risk breaking it in any way. Conveniently, on the 27th of March 2023, this infamous event known as the closure of the eShop happened. And with that, many videos sprung up on my YouTube saying now was the time to mod your 3DS or its handheld relatives. Come the end of April 2023, I took the leap. Turns out modding a manufacturer state DS is ridiculously easy. The tutorial I followed at the time is no longer viable thanks to Nintendo trying to patch out modders in July that same year. It was cracked within a day. Thankfully, Anton Retro, my go-to for all hacks Nintendo, has released videos since that clarify the situation as well as updating the modding process. His videos are super clear and to the point. He includes all the links you could possibly need, as well as alternatives depending on whether you're using a new or old console. It was so easy I did it while working my part-time job. My biggest difficulty with handheld modding was when I bought a second-hand new 2DS XL with the intention to mod and gift it to my sister for Christmas. I found out pretty quick that there was still custom firmware on it, thanks to being able to boot into Luma. I wanted to test my knowledge and see how far I could safely get before needing help. And when I say safely, I mean I hardly did anything before looking up a tutorial. I turned the device on, I loaded up any software I needed onto a micro SD card and booted the 2DS into God Mode 9. I managed to complete the remodding process without much trouble. My big issue actually happened when my sister came to me a day or two later, handed me the 2DS, and said it crashed during gameplay and now only turns on to a specific error screen. With just my luck, everything I tried didn't work. Reinstalling Luma was the biggest suggestion, and even installing older versions wouldn't work. Thankfully, and this is my most recommended tip for anything, quite literally, I found a Discord server for Nintendo DS modding. Everyone was willing to help out and work together to fix problems. Because of the server's member count, I got a response pretty quickly and my problem was solved within 20 minutes. The solution was an oddly specific version of an oddly specific file from a Google Dropbox that was 100% not sketchy because I don't use McAfee. This tip doesn't just apply to console modding, but absolutely anything. Discord has grown massively the last few years and there are servers for anything and everything. It's also worth taking a look into if you're particularly knowledgeable on something and wish to help out others with their questions and problems on that subject. The PlayStation 2 was a staple to my childhood. Unfortunately, being an early 2000s baby meant I didn't grow up with cool consoles like the Atari, Sega Genesis, or the SNES. Trust me, I wish I could've. Next to the Wii, the PS2 was one of my go-tos for gaming as a kid. This was also a pretty easy console to mod, if you were patient and have the parts. However, I ended up spending many hours fighting with this thing just to find out I was using the wrong kind of USB stick. Pro tip, the color on the end of your thumb drive matters a lot more than you think it would. I didn't make a lot of money at the time, so I planned to mod it with whatever I had around, thus the USB method. Turning back the clock, I 100% would have saved a little and gone with the modded hard drive method as it stores tons more and runs at quicker speeds. The fastest method of getting your firmware cracked is by using a free memory card boot. This is essentially a modded memory card that does 99% of the work for you. You can find these anywhere. Most people recommend ones on Amazon as they offer the most reasonable prices. At the time of modding this console, I didn't take the easy way. I instead wanted to mod my own stock memory card. To do this, I needed a USB stick and a writable DVD. Using a rewritable DVD or RW-DVD does not work. I went that route, again, learned the hard way. In case you're unsure of which you have, the packaging or DVD itself should say DVD-R on it. Also, unless you're super lucky, Best Buy does not sell these in store unless you want 50 of them. I bought a pack of 10 for $12 on Amazon. Once I got everything situated, I had to download my games, title them using their SLUS code or number, and load them into the appropriate folders on the USB. Now, this is where I spent hours trying to figure out why nothing was working. I used different booting software for the games, no luck. Tried a different game, still none. Sometimes I got nowhere, sometimes it froze on a neon-colored screen. Once I figured out that I was using the wrong kind of USB, the first game I had to play was Madagascar, one of my #1 childhood favorites. I will still crush anyone at shuffleboard. One thing that did confuse me during this process is the screens you see while booting a game. Using the USB method, it can take a minute or two for games to load, and during this process you may be exposed to bright flashing screens, usually green, pink, or orange. This, I found, is completely normal. However, if it stays on one color for more than 5 minutes, there's a good chance your game won't load. My biggest issues for this was either a corrupt or fragmented file, or the file was split because it was too big and the PlayStation just didn't know what to do with it. Now, the reason this was all such a struggle for me was because not all videos had the details I needed. Most of the ones I tried never specified what kind of DVD you needed, whether a different speed of USB affected the process. Blue is too fast, by the way, supposedly, but the one I have on my PlayStation 2 now is a Blue/3.0 stick, and it's only 16 gigabytes and it seems to run fine. So it might depend on the thumbstick you're using. The issues I was having before was also down to the fact that the USB stick I was using was 128 gigabytes. Now, thanks to the way that FAT32 formatting works and old consoles work, you can't really use a thumbstick that's bigger than 32 gigabytes if you want to have issues. The same goes for the 3DS with your SD card or micro SD. If it's above 32 gig, you might start to have problems with it. This honestly took me a fair bit of searching through videos, Reddit posts, you name it, and my solution actually came by looking through some of these videos' comment sections. A lot of people will comment any issues they experience when following a specific tutorial, and before this, I had actually never thought to check comment sections. Normally, I'd avoid them as if they were a nest of hornets, and I'm sure a lot of you out there agree. So my advice from this is to actually check all of your options, even the ones you might not normally think to check. If you can't find a solution, don't be afraid to reach out either. A lot of channels will have emails or websites or even their own Discord servers. It's definitely worth peeking in and seeing if either they or someone that is a part of it can help you. The Wii is life. This console had just about everything you needed. I will admit that I won't touch Animal Crossing with a 10-foot pole, as some games just weren't built for the system. The Wii was actually incredibly interesting to mod for me, being as its process is entirely different to anything I'd done before. To manage files for a modded Wii, you can use a USB stick or an SD card, but I have a lot of thumb drives laying around, so that's what I went with. To begin modding a Wii, you actually start by connecting to a specific internet connection. I definitely felt like a pro hacker when I was sat on my living room couch at 3 PM flicking through a black screen with bright colored text on it following this tutorial. The only trouble I had, again, was getting games to run. Turns out, much like the PS2, they need to be named with the correct title and code, otherwise the Wii just refuses to notice them. Also make sure you have converted your game files from WBSF to WAD. This is actually something I completely forgot the last time I went to add a new game to my Wii. You can do so using wii.hacks.guide. It is pretty easy to find online. Editor Tash here. You only actually need to follow these steps if you are looking to have your games appear on your home screen, so this step only really applies to that. You don't actually have to convert it to a WAD file if you just want to go into a file manager and play it there. The Wii is also super easy to mod, aside from maybe the odd thing. It's got lots of subreddits with people asking all sorts of questions, as well as an official site. Non-official Nintendo, but modder official, that has every tutorial you could ever need. It tells you how you can do it, why you might not be able to, what errors you'd run into, all of the software you'd need. It's right to the point, it's perfect. As you now may have guessed, my biggest reason for modding consoles was so I could return to old favorites that I no longer had a physical copy of. 12-year-old me just decided to clear out of a lot of old games at one point, and I am seriously regretting it now. I don't know loads about any of these consoles, but through modding and my weird fascination with technical things, I've actually learned quite a bit. Some of the things I've experimented with is having N64 emulators on the 3DS. I've heard of a lot of people saying it's a pretty poor experience, but to be honest with you guys, Mario 64 looks better than ever. If you're thinking about modding your console, you should 100% go for it. Not every error screen means sudden doom, and most consoles have the ability to be backed up, so if something does happen, you can safely reset it to its former state. I know I plan to do more in the future, and I hope to become more involved in the software side of things, as some of these devices have amazing potential that not even the creators could have realized. If you enjoyed this video, we'd greatly appreciate your support. We've got some nifty buttons hanging out down below that are just for that. We appreciate all the support here, and if you see me over on Twitch, it means the absolute world to me. I really hope that you guys are gonna enjoy this turn in the channel. It's gonna be cool. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you all have an amazing day, night, afternoon, whatever time it is, wherever you are, and I will see you guys next time. See ya!